everybody, and welcome along to Transfer Talk.
Listen up, you Manchester United fans. This breaking news is for you. Sky Germany is reporting that United have made contact with Eintracht Frankfurt to register an interest in Hugo Ekitike. It's understood they're exploring conditions of a potential deal for the 22-year-old forward. Not straightforward, though, because Frankfurt want 100 million euros, about 85 million pounds, because Ekitike has 4 years left on his deal. But Sky Germany reporting Manchester United made contact with Eintracht Frankfurt to register an interest in Hugo Ekitike. We'll keep a very close eye on that. And of course, you'll hear more in the transfer shows, which start again.
Mbeumo couldn't quite get that one done before the deadline. You still think that'll happen?
It's interesting, this, because now the spectre for Manchester United is Thomas Frank imminently arriving at Tottenham Hotspur, and he would desperately like to have Bryan Mbeumo at Tottenham Hotspur, and he can offer Bryan Mbeumo Champions League football. The information we have as it stands is that Mbeumo wants to go to Manchester United. A lot of that deal on the personal terms side have been agreed in principle. It's just whether Manchester United and Brentford can agree on a fee. Now, there has been one bid of £45 million plus £10 million in performance-related add-ons. That makes it around £55 million package, which Brentford have rejected. There's a school of thought that their feeling is, well, if Matheus Cunha has arrived to Manchester United for £62.5 million, well, Bryan Mbeumo is worth at least £62.5 million. So Manchester United will need to raise their offer. We expect United to go back in. And as I say, as it stands, it's United who are in the driving seat for it. But I'm told just never to rule out anything. And the Thomas Frank situation just might have added a bit of a dimension to a potential, shall I go to Tottenham because I know the manager and I've got Champions League and I don't really have to move home, or do I go to Manchester United?
Viktor Gyökeres is another name that's been heavily linked. What's the latest on that one, Darms?
United are definitely interested. It's our understanding that they have made initial contact, but via intermediary. So there hasn't actually been club-to-club contact between Manchester United and Sporting. But the Sporting president, he's been having his say, because there's been all sorts of reports suggesting that Gyökeres has been promised he could leave for around £60 million because he stayed on at Sporting for last season. Well, the president has firmly denied that and assured every Sporting fan and warned rather than assured every interested party that Viktor Gyökeres will not be going to leave Sporting Lisbon for 59 or 60 million pounds. So he will be going for more money than that. The noises again coming out of Portugal is that Viktor Gyökeres is not happy about that, because he thought he had a gentleman's agreement about being able to go for less money, so it would be easier for him to do so. This one looks like it can rumble on, but you can understand the interest from United, that it's a priority position that they want to fill, and I'm told they want to fill it regardless of whether Rasmus Højlund stays at United or not. And maybe it could be beneficial to someone like Rasmus Højlund as well. I know he's been heavily criticised in the 2 seasons he's been at United, but in his defence, he didn't have a pre-season when he arrived, and his second pre-season, where he started really, really well in that pre-season, was curtailed because of a hamstring injury, and then he rejoined the group, having missed the majority of that second pre-season. And then at 20 years old when he arrived, he's expected to lead the line of one of the biggest football clubs in the world, and having had no previous experience of the Premier League and made 12 starts, I think, for Atalanta the previous season. So maybe a risk from United, but surely they needed to bring in someone who had more experience. Maybe they see Gyökeres as that player.
I'm going to ask you both a two-pronged question, and then this is how it's going to work. So clearly Gyökeres and Mbeumo, and they've got Cunha over the line already. I'm going to ask you, Sam, if you think signing those 3 players makes them top 4 contenders next season, or if they're still short. And then, Darmash, I'm going to ask you if it's actually going to be possible for them to do the hat-trick and get the 3 top targets. So, Sam, firstly to you, if Cunha, Mbeumo, and Viktor Gyökeres are all walking out for Manchester United in Manchester United shirts next season, are they top 4 contenders?
I would probably shade no for now, on the basis that, yeah, obviously it's a huge upgrade in quality in the forward areas, which was badly needed. But you have to remember that United have changed tact this summer and have started to target clearly slightly more experienced and proven players in that sort of 24, 25 age range. Up until this summer, they have tried very hard to focus on youth. They've done a good job of furnishing the under-17, under-18s with some of the best players in the country. And they've signed players like Patrick Dorgu and Lenny Yoro, whose best years are well on the horizon, 2-3 years away. So while the attack looks really good on paper with those 3, the rest of the team probably needs a little bit more time, needs more reps, needs more matches, probably needs a couple of years to catch up. Unless, of course, Pete, they just keep spending and they keep buying quality in those areas too. But right now, it will feel a bit like one half of the team is ready to go, ready to rock, and the other half of the team is still learning and catching up to that level. And that will create an imbalance that probably means they're not one of the top 4 teams.
Well, okay, Darmesh, second question, Manchester United fans will blow all ears here. Can they do the hat-trick? Can they get Cunha, Mbeumo and Gyökeres in this window?
Look, they've had much publicised financial issues, have Manchester United, and Sir Jim Ratcliffe even said as much in some of his interviews. It doesn't mean that Manchester United went into this transfer window with £0 as their budget for transfers. Clubs will be run, all right, we've got this much for transfers, we've got this much for restructuring and whatever else they're budgeting for. And yes, the optics haven't looked great from a Manchester United perspective with regard to the number of redundancies and the number of jobs that have been lost. However, the understanding we have is that players like Cunha and Mbeumo, that's part of the budget that Manchester United have to spend in this summer transfer window. When you go further with regard to Gyökeres, so if you think about how it's worked out so far, they've brought in Cunha already. They've made a bid for Mbeumo, which would suggest they do have the money to be able to do that deal. Whereas with Gyökeres, it's just been an approach to intermediaries to explore the conditions of a deal. And then to come back with that information and say, what do we need to do to be able to fund a deal like this one? And the feeling is that after Cunha, and if Mbeumo was to arrive, they're going to have to start looking at sales at Manchester United to be able to fund the rest of their transfer window, which shouldn't come as a surprise. But if you look at the players that they're targeting in regard to Mbeumo and Cunha, you would expect them to play in these number 10 roles that Ruben Amorim favours in his formation. Now, if you look at the players that are at Manchester United in their current squad, who may not be suited to that role, but have been playing in that role, you're looking at the likes of Marcus Rashford when he was there, Jadon Sancho possibly, Garnacho and Anthony. And they all look like they are up for sale. Now, United's preference would be to get permanent deals for those players. And doing a quick bit of maths, if you were to calculate if they were miraculously able to sell all 4, you're looking at about 100 to 125 million pounds all in, I would suggest.
And about $1 million a week off the wage bill, probably too.
Yeah. So, savings there as well. But those would be the players that they would be happy to allow to leave. But I think as far as a preference being a permanent deal, I think they would still have to look at loans for these players because of the wages that they're on. And that would then have an impact on the type of transfer window that Manchester United can have. I think United fans are getting really excited here, because they've suddenly seen, wow, straight away, Matheus Cunha's come in. Straight away, Mbeumo, there's a bid in, and they're going to go back in for him. Gyökeres, they're interested in him. Just bring him in, just bring him in, just bring him in. Whereas before the window started, all the talk was this is a 3 or 4 transfer window revolution for Manchester United. But because they've done one deal so early and potentially getting another one over the line very early, United fans are thinking, they're in the league here if they get this right. So I think they just need to take a step back, because there still needs to be outgoings before they can fully do what they want to do with regard to incomings, I think.
Which we know, especially with Manchester United, is easier said than done. Gyökeres, so clearly someone that clubs in the Premier League are going to be interested in. I mean,